I don't know, Rob Dog. It sounded really weird. Maybe.
Okay.
You
say so.
Did it sound weird to you? Oh my God. What are you drinking? Tell him what you're drinking.
I should have stone cold that beer on you like you did me that one fucking time.
I got you way better. I got you way better.
Yeah, you did. You fucking drenched me. Waste of beer. Cool Beans. It's from Jackie O's local brewery.
Cool Beans.
Golden coffee ale with lactose.
Welcome back to the Beanie Cream Spot. I'm one half of the delicious, amazing, extravagant, succulent twin duo. I'm the delicious Nickelodeon.
I'm Rob Dog. Hey guys, how's everybody going? Hopefully it's going good, and hopefully you're staying warm because it is colder than shit. We got a lot of snow. I lost one of my kids in it yesterday. What can you do?
Is he back?
I got two more. I'm not worried about it.
Okay,
I didn't even look.
All right. Well, we're doing a GoFundMe for Rob Dog because it's a cool thing to do is a GoFundMe anytime you can't afford anything. I think you should have $10,000 put back for every person that could possibly die in your life, just so you don't have to beg for fucking.
Makes sense.
I don't practice that.
I don't have $10,000.
I had $10,000. No, I did never have that once. It was cool to think about it. Speaking of thinking about stuff, I just told Rob Dog about a really weird dream I had last night.
I almost thought it was anecdote. Like I just thought it was shtick at first.
No, it was real. It creeped me out. I'm not going to talk about it on the line. Maybe we'll do a little side Patreon episode, and I'll tell you about that one.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Well, first up on our Patreon subscribers, we got Big Dick Fest. Big Dick Fest, thank you for your Patreon pledge.
Next, we got Robert Daniel Wallison. Thank you very much.
Bailey Bricker. Bailey Bricker, thank you for having such a cool name, BB.
Man. Kevin Walhoff. Thank you very much, Mr. Walhoff.
And Hans. Thanks, Hans, for the Patreon subscription.
Mr. Hans.
Were you coffee before you came here? Because you just coughed. I want to tell you something that happened in this room.
Was I coughing?
No, before you came here, were you coughing? Because you just had like a cough, like a weird cough.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Those fucking spicy-ass peanuts we ate.
Yeah?
Were all over the floor, and I was stomping around here. I crushed them all up, and it smelled like a fucking pepper spray convention in here for like 10 minutes.
Oh, man.
And I was gagging. And, that burning feeling.
Yeah.
So there's peanut juice floating through the air right now.
Maybe that's what's going on.
And I was thinking to myself, maybe it's just me, but then you sit down and you're like,
yeah, I'm always like, I'm hacking, man. It also could be, like I said, that I was out shoveling snow for 2 hours before.
Your lungs are giving out on you.
Yeah, so I had to, like, sit down and take my mother-in-law's oxygen for a little while. Like, you'll live for a little bit.
Yeah, I just used to have my mom breathe into my mouth, and that worked pretty well for me.
Mama bird you with her.
Child Protective Services over at the house a couple times, but they knew I loved my mama.
Yeah, you get to know their name, get them to know my name.
Yeah, what's up, motherfuckers?
Hey, Terry, how's it going?
Yeah. Oh, the way to keep them away is just every time they come over to investigate, just immediately pull your penis out and start pissing wherever you're at.
Answer the door naked.
Okay, this is a really special episode. We're doing Sideshow Freaks, and as of right now, tentatively, we have an interview scheduled with Lori Beth Denberg of Nickelodeon fame, 1990s. She is all that and a bag of chips. She is so much fun. She has her own podcast called Bad Advice with Lori Beth Denberg. And Rob and I can attest. Neither of us really listen to podcasts that much. We both started picking up listening to her stuff this week. And it's a really good show.
It is really good,
She is so authentic and pure and wholesome and funny like us and fucked up. So I'm really looking forward to talking to her.
I can't wait.
I'm going to tell her all the bad stuff I used to think about her when I was a kid. not like, bad stuff, but the naughty stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I can't wait.
We're over the moon to talk to her.
I got a couple questions that I can't wait to ask her. Hopefully it's more of a conversation, not just us asking her 1,000 questions.
Yeah, she has not committed to a video Zoom.
Okay.
But she did not decommit either. I just haven't asked her.
Sure.
So I set it up for video Zoom because I want to stare at her. I want her to make eye contact with me, and I want to tell her a really bad story from when I was a kid.
We can get her preference once we get to it. But
yeah, that's fine. All right, we got a big article for you this week. It's
Hell yeah.
called, it doesn't have a name. It's not called anything. It's Warren Police Search for Man Who Pooped in Unlocked Cars at Auto Shops. Okay. Employees at 2 different Warren auto shops were shocked when they realized a random man pooped in cars that belonged to customers. Warren police told Fox 2 Detroit, that's a wonderful fucking place to be, they're on the lookout for a man who pooped in unlocked cars at Mr. Friendly Auto Service in Twins Tire Service. The man first struck at Mr. Friendly Auto Service in November, which is located at something Van Dyke. The manager, Chris Phillips, told Fox 2 after they realized someone used their customer's car as a bathroom, he checked the security cameras. According to Fox 2, the security footage showed the man grabbing sanitary napkins, opening a customer's van, and pooping inside of it. The man came back again in January, but kept his pants on that time. The second incident happened February 3rd at Twins Tire Service, located at 2911 Van Dyke Avenue. An employee at Twins Tire Service said they were fixing a van with electrical problems, so the vehicle couldn't lock properly. The employee said it was unsettling. The poop froze due to cold temperatures.
Oh, man.
He was able to shovel it out of the car, which was a slightly easier cleanup. After this, the auto
you got to break out a shovel to get turds out, even when they're frozen? Wow.
After this, the auto shop deep cleaned the car from the customer free of charge. They're still investigating the incidents. Which, and it says, a man went into a local mire, pooped in an empty box, and left it on a shelf. Okay, that was back in October. What kind of fucking maniac?
It's like, it's really funny story, but honestly, if you think about it, that's kind of shitty for that guy. Get it?
Well, yeah, and it led me, my dad works in the car business.
Right.
And part of his shtick is he kind of in a rough part of town.
Mm-hmm.
He leaves the fucking cars unlocked because they'll break the goddamn windows to get in them. He just doesn't leave anything in them.
Yeah, it's cheaper to just let them get in and instead of breaking the windows.
Well, they were working on a van or something. They opened up the back of the van. There was a Bengal starter jacket, and then next to it was a big old pile of shit right in the middle. And this is last winter, I think.
So there was 2 Bengals jackets.
Yeah, and so my older brother works with my dad, and it's just those two. And there was a war of fucking worlds for months. They fucking locked this van and just pushed it to the back of the lot and just let it sit because neither one of them were going to clean the turd out.
Did it ever get cleaned out?
I don't know if it did or not. I think someone just bought the van. My dad's like, well, I got to be honest with you. I knocked off about $17 because here's the quarters. You're going to need to go vacuum it out.
We left your turd in the back. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for him.
Where's my fucking phone? We're calling his ass right now.
Yeah, I want to know if he sold it with the turd in it.
I gotta call him. He probably, I don't know. He'll be shy about it.
Got that handy dandy Bluetooth button.
I haven't hooked it up to the phone.
Hello.
Hey, Dad.
Yep.
Hey, it's Nick.
Damn, if this don't sound like Nick.
So I was doing the podcast, and I was reading this article from the Detroit Free Press about a man that was shitting in cars at car lots. And I was telling Rob, you guys had a similar incident with a Bengals jacket involved.
That motherfucker paid my place a visit.
Oh no! Well, Rob's question was, I told Rob, I said I think just locked it like a ticking time bomb, left it for someone to come and clean it back up. But Rob wants to know if you actually sold the vehicle or like
with the turd in it.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah, sold it, and with the shit in it.
That's what I wanted to know.
Did you at least leave a log of quarters on the front seat so they could take it to the fucking cleaners?
Well, I did get the Bengals jacket out with a pair of needle nose pliers.
So
and
nasty.
the damn toilet paper was still flying around inside.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, you need to fire my brother. That's all that boils down to right there.
Well, you think he did it?
Yeah, I do. It was either me or him.
I'd say from the looks of things, it was a big motherfucker.
Looked like a gorilla did it.
Silverback.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you get back to your shows there.
Okay.
All right. Bye. All right. So there you heard it from the patriarch himself.
I was hoping he sold it with the turd in it.
I sold that motherfucker. I'll send it on down the road. People wonder. They say, Nick, why are you so fucked up? What the fuck is wrong with you? what happened in your life that did this to you? I say, well, for one, my dad.
You can tell by talking to him right there that that's what happened to him.
He's a mess, man.
It's so good, though.
He's got some, but the fun thing about him is he's, just imagine me, 30 years older, so 500% less tolerance for anything.
Yeah.
And it's perfect.
And you shit your pants, I can tell.
Oh, yeah? Can you smell it?
Yeah, I can smell it.
Sorry. You might be able to hear it if we rewind it.
Oh, I heard you do it, but I forgot about it until it started.
Yeah, we can Skype it in.
Until it started hitting in this area.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right.
So we're super excited for Lori Beth Denberg. Sorry to you wonderful people of Detroit. They're having your car shit in. I hope that fucking comes out in the wash, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, I mean, they live in Detroit, so I mean.
Yeah, they're like, man, that's all I do is poop in my car. I get nervous. I shit in my car. I've only tried, and you said you have to do this kind of on the reg, but I've only tried to pee in my car once, and it was a literal fucking disaster. I had piss on the clusters up on the dashboard. I got piss in the cassette deck. Yeah, I had a cassette deck at the time, but
it's an acquired talent, that's for sure.
Can you do it while you're driving?
I did last week, yeah. And typically I don't because it's difficult. But
it's difficult. It's like a fucking it's like doing the trapeze above the Empire State Building.
It depends where I'm at. Like I gotta be wary of where I'm at. There was one time that
I don't want everybody seeing your dick.
I was working at I was doing a job at a church, and I drove around to the side where there was nobody at, and it was the side where they do like I guess there was like they do their daycare. I didn't notice till after the fact. I went to the back of my truck and I was like, okay, cool, nobody's around. So I just whipped it out and pissed. And then as I was getting back into my truck, I looked over at the door and there was a fucking Ring doorbell on the outside.
Oh my God. You were probably sweating bullets for a few days after that one.
Yes, I was. Yeah. I was like, no. Yeah,
I'd just start pissing my pants from that point on.
And I wasn't even turned away from the camera either.
You're like, hey, look at my wiener.
Yeah, it's
put that on your Ring doorbell.
If I'm in the bad area where there's like alleyways, I can just step out and do that. But if not, I gotta pull out the old Tim Hortons cup and fill it back up. Yeah, man.
The Ring, my doorbell came on today, and I was at work, so I pulled it up, and it was my wife letting my old 15-year-old dog out the front door because when it's snowing out, he doesn't like to walk down the back deck. So she's being nice and taking him out front. And I'm watching on the doorbell. I'm watching it all unfold, and he walks out to the street. I'm like, oh, my God, he's going to get fucking hit. So immediately it turns into like an out-of-body experience where I'm watching this all go down, and I'm screaming, and I can't do anything. And she's just standing there, and then he finally like starts to squat to shit, and I can tell he's right on top of the sidewalk. And Stacy's just like, motherfucker, God damn. Because we live in a nice neighborhood. People don't leave piles of shit on the sidewalk.
She just kicks snow over top of it.
So she starts trudging out there. You know, we got 10 feet of snow right now, and she's got a snow shovel, and she's got to scoop it up and throw it wherever. And he takes like 3 steps away, and then she puts her back towards him, and she starts to shovel the shit. Well, the snow is so deep she can't really do anything. And he just takes off walking like down the street away from her while she's got her back to him. And he just fucking walked away. And I'm like, no!
Poor guy.
No! So then she turns around and he's gone. She's like, God damn it! And she had to go get him down the street. And then I text her while she's out there. I said, that looks very traumatic. And then she got back inside and she told me that she hated me and that she wanted to leave me. But it worked out. We're still in love. We're still truly, madly, deeply in love like Savage Garden, so there's nothing to worry about anymore.
Oh, man.
She just hates my dog. Huh. He's got cataracts and he's deaf. Give him a fucking break, you know?
He goes outside. It's something new for him. He goes out front.
It is. He doesn't like to go outside when the snow can touch his wiener either. He's just like me.
It can definitely touch now.
All right, let's get on to...
Wait, are you going to get into the email?
Oh, I forgot all about the email. God damn it.
Before we get started, sorry, guys.
Okay, I got a really, really creepy email today.
Okay.
Anything that starts with law enforcement, I get really worried. So,
hell yeah.
Here's the email. I got my personal email today. It says, do not try to turn to law enforcement agencies. They will fail to solve your issue. I am a foreign citizen. Now carefully, until the end, follow this notice, lest the consequences may be irreversible. Your jerk-off has been recorded through my program. One of its opportunities is activation of a web camera of the victim remotely. I also downloaded all contacts from email and have access to your social networks. I am not going to go into details how they have occurred. I'm going to give you a tip. Leave away from dubious websites, and antivirus should always be updated, but such actions not necessarily can save your device. Within 48 hours, as soon as you read this message, you give money to me for keeping quiet, and I will destroy all blackmail material where you jacking off. If you defy these demands, in 96 hours, I'll send your heinous video to your buds and family. In so doing, destroying your reputation in the eyes of others forever. I'm not interested in what you do during your own time. I care about payoff for the activity I carried out. It isn't for me to judge your bias, though it is a great sin in any religious thought. It makes no sense to write and beseech me. This electronic mail is hacked, and soon there will be no access to it. Wow. The best one ever.
That is awesome.
He called my jerk.
He caught you jerk off.
And I was thinking for a second. I'm like, oh my God. Steve, I haven't beat off in a long time. So it's theoretically,
yeah.
I don't know what. Then I started thinking, would I really be that ashamed if there was just a video of me just fucking cranking it?
Right.
People wouldn't watch it. They'd be like, just turn their heads. They wouldn't want to watch it. And then there was an attachment. I'm not going to open it, but it's a Bitcoin purse on a notepad. They want me to send $1,500. So there's no video of me fucking beating my meat. They're going to use it for blackmail.
Little do they know you have an OnlyFans page.
Dude, I got that at work at first. It says, do not turn to law enforcement. I'm like, oh, great. They got one of my kids. I was so scared for my life. And then I got to the next line. Your jerk off has been recorded through my program.
Your jerk off has been.
And I'm like, what fucking jerk off are they talking about? When was the last time I've.
What are you doing with Rob?
And this came after my really traumatic dream last night. And I said, God damn it, what the fuck did I do last night?
The dream surveys are real.
Yeah. The dream survey. I got your jerk recorded. I just like how formal. Don't turn to law enforcement. I've got your jerk off on camera.
I've got your jerk off.
I recorded your jerk off.
Oh, God, man. That's good.
So if you have a video of my jerk off, send me an email, brohiopodcast@gmail.com. I'd love to give you $1,500 for that video to save my reputation. And it even says...
We want to preview it first, though, just to make sure.
Yeah, we want to make sure I look good on
hopefully
camera.
You're wearing your mullet wig.
Hopefully the camera adds 10 pounds to my penis. It says I'm going to show it to your buds and family. It says buds.
Buds.
I don't even have any buds. You're like the only dude I hang out with.
Yeah.
We're going to give it to Rob Dog.
Be like, cool, man.
Rob's like, dude, I got a video of you jerking off.
I see you didn't give that guy $1,500.
Yeah. I'm glad you saved the money, and I'm glad I got the video, so it was a win-win for everybody involved. Oh, my God. All right, let's get on to the episode.
Man, that's funny.
20 fucking minutes.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, let's do a brief pause for some of our dynamically inserted ads.
Sure.
I've been trying to incorporate that more because I never know when to drop them in.
Okay.
I just wing it. All right. There is no real recorded history of the first sideshow. We're talking about sideshows and freaks in this episode. There's no real recorded history of the first sideshow in America. P.T. Barnum started promoting the human novelties he called freaks in his traveling show in 1835, and he opened his larger freak show at the American Museum in Manhattan in 1841. When a fire in 1868 destroying his museum, Barnum founded P.T. Barnum's Grand Traveling Museum, Menagerie, Caravan, and Circus. From the Fiji Mermaid, General Tom Thumb, who we'll talk about, and George Washington's nurse, the Siamese twins Chang and Ing Bunker, we're going to talk about them too. Barnum presented intriguing individuals with unique bodies and minds as wild and exotic marvels. This is a kind of a cool story, and I don't know if I've ever told this story before. Growing up, my dad lived by some railroad tracks, and there was said to have been some type of train wreck involving a circus going through using the train tracks. And he raised horses growing up, and one of his horses got out, and when it came back, it had like fucking gnarly ass claw marks down the side of the horse. He said it was bigger than anything that could have been around.
Yeah.
I think there's been a lot of reports and stories from a long time ago where things have escaped from the circus. Not necessarily that huge stories. But
Dang.
I'm fascinated by escaped wild animals in I guess, suburban areas.
Yeah.
And he kind of had a run-in with that.
That's pretty cool.
This first freak, I don't like to call them freaks.
Yeah.
Kind of feel bad.
Right.
But they're all dead.
It is derogatory, I would say.
These freaks. This first one is...
Just call them attractions.
Do you watch American Horror Story?
Yeah.
There was the one season ago where there's a really weird-looking thing with like a pinhead.
Yeah. That was the best season, in my opinion.
Okay, that's exactly what this person looks like. Schlitzie, the last of the Aztecs. Schlitzie, or it's spelled two different ways.
Have you seen the actress that plays that character?
Yeah.
She's really pretty.
She fucking freaks me the fuck out in the role she plays. So
yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
Schlitzie Surtees, birth name possibly Simon Metz, unknown. It was a male. It was a man. It was a ma'am.
He was a male.
Is one of the most famous pinhead sideshow performers in history, primarily due to his role in Todd Browning's 1932 film Freaks. And although Schlitzie's persona in the film, as well as on stage, was female, he was actually a male off stage.
Okay.
Schlitzie was born with a condition known as microcephaly, a developmental disorder which causes the skull and brain to be undersized. Microcephalax are also typically of short stature. Schlitzie was only 4 feet tall. Schlitzie's condition also left him severely mentally disabled, which made him unable to perform many basic tasks and only capable of speaking short words or phrases. I gotta show you a picture. I do want you to see a picture of some of these people.
Okay, sure. I would definitely like to.
That Schlitzie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it looks... Wow, man.
Yeah, I've seen him before.
God damn it. That is an ugly motherfucker right there. His jaw is the size of a regular man.
That's the picture I'm used to seeing, the woman in the yellow and red dress or pullover. Yeah.
That is...
I've seen that picture before.
Look at the arms on that thing. That is... He is a weird looking dude, man. That is really something else.
Wow. Okay.
I just think that it's fascinating that there was a time where they just found all of these weird people. Not necessarily weird people. I'm trying to be culturally sensitive in this episode.
That they just parade him around.
Yeah, people pay money just to look at this person or this thing. In some instances, they're things like the mermaid.
They treat them as things. I mean, that's definitely for sure. I mean,
the mermaid we talked about, the P.T. Barnum, the Fiji mermaid was a...
Right.
It was a monkey's head sewn to a fish's body.
Okay.
And it wasn't living, but they said that it was a real-life mermaid. And they would parade this thing around, the country saying, "Oh, my God, check out the amazing Fiji mermaid as we've come to..." And they have, there it is. It's just a fucking...
What the fuck?
It's a monkey's head sewn to a fish's body. Isn't that hot?
That's pretty sweet.
Send me that link, I'd click on it. They didn't catch his jerk off on the webcam, did they?
Definitely not.
All right, I'll let you tell them all about Tom Thumb.
Sure, Tom Thumb. So this is Charles Sherwood Stratton, better known as General Tom Thumb, is one of the most famous little person sideshow performers in history. Young Charles stopped growing at approximately 2 feet tall.
That's terrifying.
That is very short, yes. At the age of 4, he was discovered by P.T. Barnum himself, actually a relative of the Strattons, and quickly became a member of Barnum Circus. For the next 40 years until his death in 1883, Charles had wild success as General Tom Thumb, earning a fortune that would make him a millionaire today.
Oh my God.
Where's he at?
He's right there. He's the one that... Yeah, he's fucking tiny, dude.
Okay, yeah. Let's see here. Lost my spot there, earning him a millionaire. He even bailed out Barnum Circus at one point and married another little person, Lavinia Warren, a.k.a. Mrs. Tom Thumb.
She's right there.
Which earned him a reception at the White House, care of President Abraham Lincoln. Although he started growing again later in life, he was only just barely over 3 feet tall, and even after his death, Stratton's doctors were never able to pinpoint the exact cause of his dwarfism.
There he is with his wife and his daughter.
Okay.
I bet you that baby tore her butthole out of the frame coming out.
Yeah, she's holding the baby, and the baby's literally almost the same size as her. So I'm wondering if that baby was a full-size child.
Yeah. I was trying to think of some really good short jokes right here, but I didn't really think of anything.
Yeah.
They're really, really small people.
They are. They honestly, if I couldn't see their height wise, though, I wouldn't be able to tell just by looking at like their faces.
No, they got fucking mongoloid heads. Look at those things. They got something wrong with them, dude. They're not normal. This next one's one of my favorites that we covered here. Ching and Ing.
Ching and Ing.
They were Siamese twins. They might not be household names, but they did make an important contribution to the sideshow's history. They were the original Siamese twins, so called because they were conjoined twins who were born in modern-day Thailand, or Siam, in 1811. Joined to the sternum, I guess we're a sternum, that's a chest.
Mm-hmm.
Joined to the sternum, the brothers lived their lives facing chest to chest, though with modern medicine, they'd be easily separable since they shared no major organs other than a slightly fused liver.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they could have very well have been separated. But I'll get to that.
Cool.
As the boys grew older, they settled in North Carolina, adopted the surname Bunker, bought a plantation complete with slaves.
Of course they did.
And even married a pair of non-conjoined sisters with whom they fathered a total of 21 children.
Holy shit.
God, I hope you're ready for a double dicking tonight, little girl. Due to the brothers' condition, their marriage bed was custom built and had room for the four of them to sleep together.
Huh.
Later, however, the two wives reportedly found they couldn't get along, and so the brothers moved into two separate houses, alternately spending 3 days to a week at each, depending on the sources. They died, so the wives wouldn't get along. And even the fact that they were able to get these wives to sleep together in the same fucking bed in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And they are conjoined twins. And I have no idea why I'm completely fascinated by Siamese twins. Conjoined twins, I should say. But I am fucking fascinated by conjoined twins.
It is really cool. Like there's the ones, the real famous ones that are around now, that the one suing the other one for jerking off. Because he's saying it's his penis and he's not consenting to him to masturbate.
They probably have the same fucking pocket for their wallet.
So he's like he has a lawsuit against his brother. They're older too, which is what's really weird. Like older.
I think you probably remember a few years ago it was Abby and Brittany Hensel.
Conjoined at the head.
They were and they're not, oh god. They're not I don't know. In terms of, I guess, of being not ugly for a conjoined twin, they're not ugly.
There was a story I remember hearing about them not too long ago too. I don't remember if it was
I did
them being in adult movies, doing porn or something.
There was a fake news story.
Okay,
which tickled my pickle to go see what was going on in their lives. And they've completely been removed from the limelight. They're teachers.
Mm-hmm.
They're, I want to say maybe Wyoming or Missouri, some state that nobody lives in. But they're like a 4th or 5th grade teacher.
Okay.
And they had it out with the school because the school only wanted to pay them one salary.
Hell no, dog.
Hell no. No. So the school said, you're only getting one paycheck, even though you're two different people. And it kind of caused an uproar with the two of them because I kind of get it, but it's just two heads. Like you got to buy two toothbrushes instead of one.
Yeah.
There's not much difference. But I understand the independence, how they're two different people. That's a tough one.
Maybe what I saw was someone trying to get them to do a porn.
No, there was like a World Star Hip Hop thing that said they were doing porn, and it was circulating. You could.
Well, it's a bummer they didn't.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, buddy. Hopefully they wouldn't catch that jerk off.
My curiosity would have killed me on that.
Yeah, they wouldn't have. They would have caught that jerk off on the webcam for $1,500. But so. The Ming and Ing, the ones we're talking about now, are Chang and Ing. Sorry,
it's like Ming's a wrestler.
Ming, Wing, Wiener, Diener.
He'll beat the fuck out of you.
Yeah,
scary man.
The Siamese twins we're talking about, they died on January 17th, 1874, but not at the same time.
Oh no!
Chang died of a stroke brought on by pneumonia sometime during the night. Ing discovered his brother the next morning, and a doctor was called for an emergency separation. but Ing had already died by the time the doctor arrived.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So
Dang, it doesn't say what killed him, though. I mean, if they were just conjoined by barely at the liver, I wonder if it's liver failure.
I'm sure it's something to do with like circulation. I mean,
maybe.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
The next one here, Rob's going to tell you about.
The three-legged man, something I've never been called.
It could have been a dick. I saw some pictures of him, but it definitely looks like a leg. He looks like a...
Oh, yeah, that's a leg.
He looks like an octopus.
Oh, he can stand up on it, too. That was weird.
Yeah, look, he's actually got a fourth leg growing off of it. It looks like a little tit or a dick or a foot.
My mom used to babysit a kid that had a second thumb growing off of his one hand.
Your mom did?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'd have killed him.
That kid was weird.
He was definitely...
If you were that kid that my mom used to babysit, I believe your name was Brian.
He was performing the work of Satan.
Do you still have that thumb? And if not, can you please send it to our P.O. box? The three-legged man, born in Sicily in 1881, Francesco Lentini.
You got it. That was pretty good.
Was unique from birth. He not only had almost entirely complete third leg, but also... a huge dick. No, also had a small fourth foot attached to that leg's knee.
That's the picture I just showed you.
Yeah, and even had a second set of reportedly fully functioning genitals.
Oh, he had two dicks. I didn't know that.
Wow.
Oh, how much fun would that be? You could just like turn it on like a sprinkler. And
that guy would have charged him $3,000 for his jerk off.
You're gonna need to up the price a little bit for this one.
Lentini's condition was actually the result of a partially formed conjoined twin, which was fused with him at the pelvis. Since the twins' remaining parts were connected directly to Lentini's spine, the doctors determined that it was feasible to remove them. As such, Frank Lentini lived the rest of his life as the three-legged man. Originally, the young Frank was deeply depressed by his condition, but after spending time at a school for disabled children and seeing others who were blind and deaf, he became more accepting of himself, which is a awesome thing to look at, which led to his career in the sideshow where he would perform feats like kicking a soccer ball with his third leg or jumping rope. Hey man, I can't hate on the hustle.
And now for my next act, I will bite my toenails on my third leg.
He eventually worked with all of the major circuses and became extremely well respected in a sideshow community. That is a hustle right there. Good for him.
That is a good ass hustle.
Wonder if he showed his dicks.
Well, that begs the next question. If he did have two dicks, would you rather have two 5-inch dicks or one 10-inch dick?
A 1 10-incher, dog.
You wouldn't want to have the fun of two 5-inch...
I mean... It depends on how they were laid out. Maybe if it was a vertical stack.
If one was in my ass, then yeah, I'd rather have two dicks.
If it was like one above the other, so I could use both of them at the same time,
like a DDP type thing.
But if it was like side by side,
that's the old. That's not
unless I was having a threesome. I mean, I guess I really wouldn't benefit from it.
So there's the DP, which is double penetration. But if you have two wieners on your own body, then it's DDP, which is double dong penetration.
Okay,
look it up. That's fuck. I know. I didn't write it. I just reported. Okay, guys.
Sure.
But yeah, I think I'd rather take the two wieners. Sorry, that hurt you.
You threw me for a loop. I thought you were going to say the one.
Yeah, I'll take the...
Oh, yeah, I'll definitely have the two.
10-incher, man, that's scary. That's a hysterectomy hanging from your waist right there. I don't want nothing to do with that right there. That's terrifying. I'm not a woman. I've had a lot of stuff in my ass, but I can't imagine like a 10-inch wiener would feel good. It would have to fucking hurt.
No, you definitely can't. One of our friends has a huge dick, said he's never had anybody let them go in the butt.
One of our friends.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different ones that could be. Not me, so I guess we can keep the conversation moving.
Of course, it was my wife that asked him, and he was like, "Oh no, no one's ever been like, yeah, let's try
ain't doing that."
Like, no, thank you.
Doing that. Oh, what? It just.
What a great life to live.
As someone that has something like, not necessarily a 10-inch wiener, but maybe someone with two penises, or you got a butthole in the middle of your sack, or something weird like that.
Yeah, there was a guy on Reddit. He had a big following there, with a big thread where he was, talking about he was the guy with two penises. He had two dicks, and they were both.
I think I remember.
They were both decent sized dicks. They're trying to get him to fuck the girl that had two vaginas.
You got two pretty good sized sausages on you, boy.
he had me beat. I mean, that's for sure.
God, not the the fucking curse of having a huge wiener than having two huge wieners. Probably get dizzy as fuck anytime you got a boner.
Save some wiener for the rest of us, buddy.
Yeah, no shit. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the extra 3 or 4 inches of wiener out of my butt that you're talking about. That's up inside my body.
You gotta get it. They gotta go in there and give you a little snip and free it.
Every man I talk to, and I'll say, "Hey man, you know you got 3 or 4 inches of wiener up inside your body." That's usually how all these conversations have been going. I got this new job and I've been meeting all these new people.
Yeah,
and like, "Hey man, how's everything going for you?" I'm like,
"Oh, great, but did you know?"
Yeah, I'm really enjoying my time here, but did you know you have 3 to 4 inches of penis up inside your body at any given point?
I think it's more like 2 to 3, but still, I could use that extra 2 to 3. It ain't doing me shit inside of my body.
Get a boner and push on your grundle.
Yeah.
My friend Rob told me all about it. Check it out. We got a podcast.
Yeah, do it right now if you're listening right now, because I know you guys got boners.
Speak for yourself.
Just feel up in there.
Send us an email, brohiopodcast@gmail.com. Elephant Man is next up. Joseph John Merrick, also known as the Elephant Man, is one of the most famous sideshow performers to have ever lived. Born in 1862 with a still unconfirmed series of genetic defects, Merrick's skin and bones were eventually covered with numerous growths, protrusions, and tumors.
The sideshow performers, that's what they need to be called instead of freaks.
Not freaks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he had a fucking bubble wrap forehead. Look at him.
He looks like
He looks like a fucking monster. That's what he looks like.
He looks like the Eric Stoltz.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, is that his name?
Something close to that. I can't remember.
In that movie with Cher?
Yeah.
The Mask?
Yeah, I can't remember his name. I don't remember.
I think it's Eric Stoltz. I think that's right.
This guy looks like he's got 2 gourds hanging from his head.
Poor guy.
Merrick's condition didn't begin to display itself until the age of 5, and his parents came to believe that it was a result of his mother being frightened by an elephant while she was pregnant with him.
Fuck?
Hence the elephant moniker. And while I was doing my research for the sideshows and stuff, I learned that back then, part of birth defects and part of birthmarks, there was a belief that if something happened to the mother while she was pregnant with a child, for instance, if she was attacked by wolves, the child would be born with wolf bite marks all over their body.
Weird.
Or in the instance of being frightened by a fucking elephant, your kid comes out looking like a fucking elephant.
Makes no fucking sense at all.
Quick, put it back in! No, it doesn't make any sense.
It's not as simple as, well, his daddy and I are ugly as fuck, so naturally he's ugly as fuck.
The reason he's got a big old wiener on him is because his dad's got a little wiener. It skips generations. Like balding. Doesn't balding skip generations is what they say?
I think so.
My dad's got a good head of hair on him.
Lucky fucker.
I'm still doing all right.
My dad, well, from what I know of my dad, he does, but he fucking, obviously that skips a generation. So
yeah.
He's got that mullet.
Elephant Man, he had trouble securing work throughout his life and eventually agreed to join the sideshow as a means of supporting himself, which also led to him being introduced to Dr. Frederick Treves of the London Hospital. Although he later stated that he didn't mind his time as a performer, he also didn't make much of a living at it and was robbed of all of his savings by one of his managers in Brussels.
No.
He started a GoFundMe for him.
That sucks.
Making his way back to London, he became a permanent resident of the London Hospital after police found Dr. Treves' card in Merrick's possession. During his time there, he became famous among London's elite and received many visitors, including Alexandra, Princess of Wales.
Okay.
He died April 11th, 1890, of asphyxiation in his sleep. Dr. Treves, who had befriended Merrick in the years since he had initially met him, believed that Merrick may have tried to lay his head down when he slept. He usually slept sitting upright, which dislocated his neck and suffocated him.
Oh my gosh.
What a fucking way to go out that is.
Can you imagine your melon weighing that much that you can't even lay with your head down?
You gotta sleep and it breaks your neck. Hey, fat head. You got that big old fat ass mother. You got that fat fucking head.
Wow.
You got a big old doo-doo head.
I can't imagine though being like
elephant boy head.
Like feeling so lost and not being able to keep any work, so the only thing you can do is be a sideshow performer.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Like that's
hopeless. I mean, it's not hopeless. Some people, that's what they want to do, and that's what they want to be. But
yeah, there was this show on one of those bullshit networks like TLC or something. I think it was called Freak Show.
Yeah,
me and my wife used to watch it religiously. It was super cool.
Yeah, there's some really interesting people on there.
Really interesting, yep.
I was watching Grey's Anatomy with my wife and my daughter, and there was a fucking cat guy on there. He had like whiskers installed and cat teeth. But
I've seen this guy. I've seen the guy before.
He's real.
Yeah, plastic surgery.
He's got like cat claws and
he's got the stuffed cheeks and stuff.
He does. Yeah. And I said, what happened in that guy's life?
It was his dad, man.
It makes you wonder if he's got one of them cat wieners, because cat wieners are terrifying.
Yeah, I remember we Googled it not too long ago because I never knew what a cat wiener looked like.
One of our episodes, we talked about the dream where my cat was like, there was a cat dressed in drag sexually assaulting my cat.
Yeah.
And I need to, I don't remember what episode that was. So if anyone remembers what episode I talk about me watching my cat being raped in leather attire, please send us an email, brohiopodcast@gmail.com, because I'd love to review that. That was hilarious. Intense. It was very intense emotionally.
I remember we got a lot of emails from people about how much they liked that story.
Most importantly, that was the last weird dream I had before last night, where I had a dream I was
last night's trumps it.
Sucking my uncle's dick.
I can't believe you actually said it.
Or did I? I don't know. But I need to figure out what I was doing in my life at that point and what I'm doing in my life at this point.
Where it went wrong.
It's causing these dreams to transpire. I need to figure out why my cat was raped and why I was doing other stuff.
Oh, man. Yeah, that cat dream was really good.
Okay.
Let's see here. Ella Harper, the camel toe girl. The camel girl.
Fix yourself, girl.
Ella Harper was born in Hendersonville, Tennessee in 1870.
And she's fucking terrifying, dude.
And she had a trait that made her just ripe for the sideshow. Ella's knees could bend forward like a fucking bird, allowing her to drop down onto her hands and walk on all fours.
With her knees bent backwards.
Oh my god!
Imagine that bitch crawling through the house at 2
She has horse
a.m.
legs.
Your wife's like, "Oh, I hear something in the kitchen." And you're like, "I'll go check it out." And this fucking thing goes scattering down the hallway.
They called her the camel girl, but she looks like a cricket.
She looks like a fucking spider. I'd shoot her. I don't.
Wow, that is crazy.
You gotta kill that thing with fire.
Are there any pictures of her standing straight up?
No, I don't think so.
Damn.
What the fuck? That's Obama, the baby.
Is that Obama? It looks like he's like that. Okay, anywho, I'm sorry. Nowadays, this is known as a condition called genu recurvatum, but in Ella's days, she was simply referred to as the camel girl. A lot easier to say. She eventually made her way into W.H. Harris's Nickel Plate Circus, where she was the star of the show. In 1886, when Ella was 16, her pitch card, the biographical information cards that circuses would pass out to the performers. So pretty much it was like their little trading cards that to let you know who was there. Stated that as of that year, she intended to quit the circus to go to school. Sure enough, the camel girl disappeared, and no references to her act appear after that year. Wow.
Oh, that's terrifying, dude.
Man, literally her legs bend the complete opposite direction.
Yeah, her knees go the wrong way. My daughter just texted me and said, let me open this again. She said, the episode is season 10, episode 13 with the cat dude.
Okay.
No, but she's talking about Grey's Anatomy. She's on the other side of the wall. And I said, close your fucking ears. I didn't tell my daughter about the cat dream. That would make me a bad dad. I would be a bad cat dad and a bad dad.
Good times.
That's scary stuff. Oh, this one's good too. Stephen Bibrowski, a.k.a. Lionel the Lion-Faced Man.
Okay.
And you want to talk about a beautiful, majestic man beast. This guy is the one. Look him up. Stephen. I
think I've seen him before too.
Bibrowski. Bibrowski. He was born in 1891 in modern-day Poland. Stephen Bibrowski was an ordinary boy who just happened to have thick hair that grew all over his body.
Majestic.
His mother was convinced, not unlike Joseph Merrick's mother, that the affliction had resulted from her witnessing Stephen's father being attacked by a lion while she was pregnant.
Wait, was his dad attacked by a lion?
Yeah, he was.
Well, she just imagine it. Like, she just wanted to say it.
Yeah, this explanation for birth defects, known as maternal impression. Oh, we should definitely look into that.
That's cool, yeah.
Was popular at the turn of the century, but has long since been debunked.
Yeah, you think?
Well, it definitely have a place on the Brio podcast. His mother thought him a monster.
Aww.
And gave him away to a German entertainer.
Oh my gosh.
Of a mom.
What a piece of shit.
Just take my baby. In truth, young Stephen suffered from hypertrichosis, the same disorder that gives us the so-called werewolf syndrome.
Nice, okay.
A trait found in contemporary circus performer Jesus Aceves, the Wolf Boy.
Right.
Stephen's hair pattern just happened to more closely resemble a lion's. He has beautiful hair. Stephen was well known for being kind, gentle, and intelligent. Come on, put him on. I'm not a bad guy. He's reported to have spoken 5 languages.
Wow.
Oh, he was a multicultural cat and spent a portion of his act simply talking to his audience.
Wow.
Oh, my God. I can only imagine what that was like.
What if you purred at him?
Stephen was able to retire in his 30s and return to Europe. He died of a heart attack at the age of 41.
Oh, man, that sucks.
They're like, and now for our next death-defying act. Lionel the Lion Man. And he comes out and he's like, hey guys, I'm actually a pretty good accountant and I could probably do your taxes for you if you needed them done, if that's something you're interested in.
I'm here to tell you to invest in stocks and bonds.
I want me to come out here and run around and hit me with a whip and hold a stool up at me, but that's not the game I'm into. I really kind of, and let's look at the dude, he is so handsome and beautiful.
Anybody care to smoke some catnip with me? Oh, wow.
Look how gorgeous his hair was. And his fucking grew over his nose. You can't even see his nose. That is a beautiful man tiger. Steven
it's so
Bobrowski.
Interesting.
It is. Gosh. I think he got a fucking perm, it looks like.
I like how it literally looks like it's combed back.
He looks like Beast. Like from Beauty and the Beast.
He really does.
I would rock that dude for sure.
Dude, he'd be the biggest hipster nowadays if he existed.
Everyone would just, he could do whatever. He had the coolest beard and a man bun. He could do whatever he wanted.
I'm curious as to if he was to shave it off, how fast it would be before it grew back. Especially like the facial hair.
You can't even tell where the hair is coming from.
Right. You can see kind of where his nostrils are at.
Oh, yeah. So I guess that's probably just a mustache. That's a mustache. He's combing it up and then eyebrows and then cheek hair.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything actually growing out of his nose. I could be.
Man, I don't know.
Let's call him. He's dead. We can't call him.
I was going to say, yeah. He's only 41 when he died. Dude, that's crazy. Wait, go down to that picture right there where he's like laying out like one of his French girls.
Draw me like one of your fancy French girls.
His arms aren't that hairy.
Yeah, they are. Look, yes, they are.
Compared to his face? His face hair is longer than his arm. I guess that's not
you
out
and
of
him
the
have
ordinary.
you and him have the same arms.
We really do.
That's good shit.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
This is right up your alley.
Is it my turn now?
Yeah.
Annie Jones, the bearded lady, super sexy. Annie Jones may not be the original bearded woman, but she was certainly one of the most famous and possibly the youngest. I think we went to high school with her. Born at an intermediate time. Born at an intermediate time in the 1860s. She started touring with P.T. Barnum when she was only 9 months old. Holy crap. She had a beard when she was 9 months. She quickly became one of Barnum's prize acts and even had grown a full mustache by the time she was 5. Wow. She was usually simply referred to as the bearded girl until she was too old to be called by that name anymore, that is. Although she was also called Monkey Girl. That's super derogatory.
That baby's just not cute, is it?
Oh. Later in life, Jones was one of the most popular bearded women in the business and used her fame and position in Barnum Circus as a platform for discouraging the use of the word freaks to refer to sideshow performers. Good for her.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. I think that's an excellent way to use that platform.
Use that platform.
I think that.
Do it, girl.
All right, now we gotta go look at pictures of her.
Sure.
I'm sorry, and this is why I am gonna post all these pictures on the Facebook page so everybody can see what we are talking about. Ooh, she was rough. That is, man, Imagine that thing chasing you at the bar.
Oh my gosh, that beard.
Oh my goodness. That bitch has got some hairy ass knuckles.
I was about to say something, but I'm going to hold my tongue on it.
All right. That is, it doesn't, that is pretty wild. That is very unfortunate that she looks like that for her sake.
Man.
I can't imagine it was, look at the beard right there.
I was looking at the ponytail. That is super impressive. Yeah, it's...
I'm trying really hard to not be uncultured, but...
Picture
Osama bin Laden.
Picture one of the Hindu guys that blow the flute and the cobra dances out of the barrel. That's kind of what she resembles.
I think it works for her. Yeah, she looks nice though.
Yeah,
it's always good when you can braid the hair on your left butt cheek to the hair on your right butt cheek and create a look that works with your dress.
Hey,
Isaac Sprague, the human Skeletor, or skeleton. Ooh. He was born in Massachusetts in 1841, was by all accounts a normal boy, at least until he got to the age of 12 when he began rapidly losing weight, something I, unfortunately, do not suffer from. Before long, his muscle mass had essentially dropped to nil, which his doctors being unable to explain exactly why his condition was listed by at least one as extreme progressive muscular atrophy. At the age of 24, incapable of working any other jobs, he joined the sideshow. And
you guys need a skeleton?
He looks like Daddy Long. Is it Daddy Longlegs? Or
Daddy Longneck?
Daddy Longneck. Yeah. Did you see him trying to karate chop the macaroni? Fucking spaghetti noodles.
There was one where I think it was the dude with the fat neck.
Yeah.
He was holding a corn on the cob and he was trying to chop it. It was like breaking his hand.
No, it's not corn on the cob.
No, there was another one where he was doing the corn. I saw the spaghetti one, but he was doing a corn on the cob too.
I thought the spaghetti noodles were corn on the cob and they zoomed in. I said, that's fucking spaghetti.
Then maybe that's what I'm thinking of then.
Yeah, it looks like corn on the cob, but it's spaghetti noodles.
That's even more embarrassing.
Trying to karate chop him in half and he about broke his fucking hand. He looks like he's about 40 pounds soaking wet though.
Yeah.
Sprague worked with the P.T. Barnum on and off throughout his career, working at Barnum's American Museum and sometimes going on tour with him when he found himself low on money. P.T. Barnum's like, I know why you're back, boy, and we're going to put you to work.
Break out the macaroni.
First off, we got to feed you some. I can't get this Daddy long neck.
That's what I said. That I was just imagining him up on stage karate chopping macaroni. It's funnier when you say macaroni instead of spaghetti noodles.
Apparently he was low on money a lot because he quite frequently he was in Barnum's shows. He had 3 sons and was rumored to have a gambling problem as well.
You think?
At the age of 44, Sprague was officially measured by a doctor and found to be 5 feet 6 inches tall while weighing a mere 43 pounds.
Holy shit.
I took a 43-pound shit on my lunch break today. He died 2 years later of asphyxiation, probably as a result of his condition. As a result of Sprague's popularity, living skeleton acts became common at many sideshows.
Man, and one thing I've noticed is common theme is that these sideshow performers do not live long.
They don't live long. It's called, as my dad would say, rode hard and put up wet. Buddy.
Yeah, here for a good time, but not a long time.
Just fucking getting after it.
Prince Randian, the living torso. All right, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
So Prince Randian, birth name unknown.
He's just a potato with a dick is all he is.
Was born in 1871 in British Guyana. I don't know how to say that. I'm fucking American.
Guinea? I don't know.
Guinea spelled like that?
I don't know.
That's stupid.
I fucking hate guinea pigs. So.
Is that where they come from?
I have to say so. So I automatically don't like this guy.
With tetra amelia syndrome, a disorder that causes the person to be born without limbs, as well as other possible deformities, which Randian did not have. The rest of his early life is a mystery. According to legend, he was brought along with his wife, Princess Sarah, she got a fun name, to America at the age of 18 by P.T. Barnum himself. The two quickly settled in America and began having children, 5 in total. Randian found fame with his human snake act where he'd wear a one-piece wool outfit and crawl across the stage.
I'm a snake.
As well as performing a number of acts such as riding or rolling a cigarette with his mouth and shaving with a razor embedded in a wood block.
They're just making him live. They just live your normal life and people are going to watch you. Look how ugly his wife. I think that might be the bearded lady, his fucking wife.
Damn, that hair.
They've got him on top of like a fucking end table. So he could be a solitaire. There's a picture of him standing next to his wife, Rob and I are looking at, and she's standing upright.
It's just a lamp.
And they've got him on like top of an end table because he's only from the waist up. He doesn't exist from the waist down.
What if that was his lower body?
I don't know. I don't like it. That's creepy. That's almost as creepy as the backward leg girl.
Yeah, that is really weird. Let's see here. I don't remember where I'm at. So, actually, Randian was very capable without limbs. He claimed that he built his own props, as well as the box he stored them in, on his own. He was also extremely intelligent and multilingual, and according to those who worked with him, possessed great wit and sense of humor.
What a fucking mess, dude.
Good for him, man.
Yeah.
These people are awesome.
You remember when we were in high school, there was this big inspirational story out of Belmont and Dayton. Mm-hmm. It was Bobby. He was went to the inner city schools there. He played football, but he was a torso with arms. He didn't have legs. And I don't know where his dick hid, but he had a lot of fucking he was on ESPN because he was, this inspirational story. He was a really good nose tackle, and he was a torso with arms, and he didn't have any legs at all. But he got around school by being on a skateboard. He would put his torso on the skateboard.
That's pretty sweet.
And then his arms were long enough to touch the ground. He would just kind of like fucking push himself through the halls on the skateboard. Well, he kind of grew up in the projects, and he didn't graduate from the projects after he got out of high school. He kind of went the way of, he didn't do very well.
Yeah, he stayed in the streets.
He was getting arrested a lot for domestic violence, drug trafficking, some other things. While I was working private security, he would always come to these late night parties that I would have to fucking be in charge of. Not sure that I worked security at. And I would always have to pat him down because it was my job to pat people down at the door. And he would always be on his fucking skateboard. And everyone's like, Bobby! They get so amped up to see him. But he was a fucking asshole, dude. He's dead now. But he was a fucking asshole. And I'll say that he was just always a fucking prick.
I'm sure he had a chip on his shoulder.
It wasn't very high. Say that. So he's like come through security on his fucking skateboard. And I would make him get off the skateboard because he would fucking put they'd want us to make sure no one was bringing guns and shit in. Mm-hmm. And it would be very easy for him to put his torso right on top of a gun.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He would always throw a fucking bitch fit when I would make him get off of his skateboard. And the one night he said, "Man, what you trying to do? Grab my dick?" And the guard with me who never ever talked, he's like, "I'd really like just know if you even have a dick," because he can't it's just a torso with arms. You can't. There's nothing from like the belly button down. It doesn't look like. And the guy's like, "I'd really like know if you even have a dick." And I was thinking, I'm with him, but I was like, "Listen, motherfucker, I'm just checking you for guns and knives and bombs and shit.
Shut the fuck up when you start moving. I'm going to throw a pebble in front of you."
Chill the fuck out. And he's on the skateboard. And at the end of the night, this is when all the fights always popped off.
Sure.
Someone inside the club shot a gun.
Oh, no.
Nobody got shot, but everyone starts flying out of the club, like, screaming, and just avalanche of humanity comes running out of the club. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. All they gave us was tasers out there. They didn't give us guns. Mm-hmm. I'm shitting my pants. I don't care if any of those people got shot. I'm just trying to save my own life. Like, I don't care. Whatever. But Bobby flies out. It's that diner. It used to be Club Vex. It's like a diner in downtown Dayton. Uh-huh. He comes off the fucking, like, there's like a porch going into the front door. He comes out of the club on the skateboard. He like Tony Hawk's off the fucking
pops
porch.
A wheelie. He ollies out of there.
He ollies off the porch. And onto 3rd Street or
do a kickflip,
whatever it was. I think it might have been Wayne Avenue or I can't remember. It was one of those busy streets in downtown. Yeah. But he lands in the fucking street, and when he like ollies into the street, and he lands like a foot into the street, and he lands it, and he keeps going on the skateboard. But then right as he lands and he goes like a half a foot, there's a fucking like a car coming around the corner, and it's like, and it hits him.
No,
he hits the front, and the skateboard keeps on going across the street. And he goes tumbling across the street because he got fucking whacked, and he like screamed. It didn't knock him out because he was still screaming.
What if he got up and was like, "My legs"?
No, that's the best part. The person got out of the car. The guy that hit him, and he goes up to him. He's like, "Oh, bro, you okay? Oh shit!" He starts screaming. He's like, "I'll knock these fucking legs off." This dude's freaking out. He's like, "He's dead. He's dead." And then Bobby's like holding his ribs. He's like, man, I was trying. Watch where the fuck you going, man. I'm out here in the street trying to get the fuck out. And the dude's like, "Oh man, we gotta find your legs." And Bobby's like, "I ain't got no motherfucking legs." And they're fucking yelling at each other in the street. And the fucking gunshots just went off inside. And then finally, this big old fucking fat chick walks. She's like, "Hey Bobby, you tell this man you ain't got no fucking legs." And the dude's like, "What you mean you ain't got no legs?" Like, "Man, I ride around on a skateboard." And the dude looks over his shoulder, and the skateboard's on the sidewalk, and he's like, "Oh, I'll go get your skateboard." Goes and gets the skateboard and hands it to him, and Bobby's like, "Man, my fucking ribs are fucked up." And he hops on his skateboard, and he just fucking pushes himself away.
Holy shit.
And this dude gets back in his car, and then you can tell he's just like, I don't know what the fuck just happened.
That probably fucked up his night.
But the sheer terror in this man's voice when he thought he hit this guy so fucking hard that he knocked his legs off.
Oh, dude, that's funny.
I'm just watching, and I said, this is the most perfect thing in the entire world for me. There's nothing that makes me happier than getting to watch things like this unfold right in front of me.
So I'm guessing it wasn't him that brought in the gun.
No, it wasn't him that brought. I don't know who brought I don't care who brought the gun in, but Bobby got ran over by a car.
And his legs disappeared.
But then, 2 years ago, he was fucking in the projects flying around on a four-wheeler, no legs, riding a four-wheeler, and he wrecked and died.
Oh, jeez.
Unfortunately.
He survived the car hit, but couldn't survive.
Yeah, but he was, he had a really lengthy criminal record. He was, I didn't feel sorry for him because he had a really strong history of beating women.
Yeah, fuck that dude.
But the fact that he didn't have any legs, I'm thinking like all these women had to do was just fucking whoop, push his ass over. But he was really strong. I remember he was a good football player, and he didn't even have legs. I think that nothing about that night could be more perfect. But I got to watch all that unfold.
Moral of the story: don't be a prick.
Don't be a prick. All right, now we got Miran Deho, the invulnerable man, born Arnold Gerrit Henskes in 1912 in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. Miran Deho, a pseudonym he adapted from Esperanto word for wonder, was famous primarily for one thing. He could stick swords and other metal objects straight through his body without injury.
That's some David Blaine shit.
Although not strictly a sideshow performer, Deho was in business for himself. The human pincushion is a traditional sideshow act, and Deho was one of the best at it. According to Deho himself, he learned the trick from Hindu fakirs, who are known to occasionally pierce their bodies without injury, albeit not to the same degree as in reality, Deho was never known to have visited India, and he probably just used the story as part of his spiritual angle in his act.
That's how David Blaine learned that way.
Okay. Decades before there were hippies, Deho used his act to preach love, a unifying life force, and a disdain for materialism. Several doctors examined Deho, even performing x-rays on him with a sword still sticking through his body. They discovered that the blade was indeed piercing him, though they had no idea how he was able to perform the maneuver without injury. Modern researchers believe he may have created fistulas, small scar tunnels through his body over many years of slowly inserting the sword into himself. Fucking jeez, man.
It's crazy.
In 1948, he claimed that voices compelled him to swallow a steel needle and then have it surgically removed.
Wow.
He did both, but due either to complications from the surgery or from his performances, or both, Deho died. Boom, boom, boom. See you later, Deho. Died a few days later from an aortic rupture.
I think I've heard David Blaine talk about that before, and like whenever he's explaining it like the guys that taught him And I might have this completely wrong. I might just be making this up. I don't think I am, because I don't know where to pull this memory from. But he pretty much explains it as like whenever they do like the center body stuff, they almost move their internal organs to avoid puncture as they're doing it.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's real weird.
I feel like I don't get it. Very wild roll of the dice.
Yeah, he does that with the ice pick, where he'll put it all the way through his hand and he'll pull it out and there'll be no blood.
David Blaine's a faker.
I don't know.
He's a piece of shit.
No, David Blaine's the real fucking
deal. He is a faker. Look it up. Look up the dude in the black and the white mask on The Magician's Revealed. He knows all of David Blaine's tricks.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
From here we go to four-legged lady Myrtle Corbin. If your name's Myrtle.
Four-legged Myrtle.
Myrtle Corbin, known as the four-legged girl from Texas, was a... Oh, Jesus Christ.
A dippigus.
A dippigus. Okay. She was born with a severe congenital deformity of conjoined twinning. That caused her to have two separate pelvises and a smaller set of inner legs that she was able to move.
Skateboard down there, and I was wondering if maybe I could see in between them four legs.
Man, I couldn't imagine what that looked like. When she was just a month old, her father began showing her to curious neighbors for a dime.
Sad.
For a dime. Eventually, she attracted the attention of P.T. Barnum and began performing when she was 13. She later performed with the Ringling Brothers and a freak show at Coney Island. By the time she was 18, she had made enough money to retire. Good for her. Yeah. She went on to marry and have 5 children. And it is
one for each leg.
And it is said that 3 were born from one vagina and 2 from the other. So she did have 2 vaginas.
Multiple. That's a lot of douching.
Man.
I bet she stunk in the summertime. No sundress for that bitch.
It doesn't say she died early, so I mean, I'm...
yeah, it's hard to say.
It doesn't even say what year, anything about her, like how long ago this was.
This next one's really good too.
Hell yeah.
Le Petomane, and his birth name is Joseph Pujol, and you'll find out why the last name for this guy Pujol is funny here in a second. His birth name's Pujol. Flatulence is a normal part of life unless you can do it at will. This next sideshow performer figured out how to cash in on his ability. Le Petomane, real name Joseph Pujol, we're going to call him Pujol from now on, was a French sideshow performer who made his name in the late 19th century. His act was flatulence, or shitting himself, and his skill was unsurpassable. And like a few other acts we've seen, Pujol's brilliance was at least partly attributable to an interesting anatomical feature. He could take up great masses of water or air into his rectum and then spout them out with great control. Yes. If that doesn't sound great, hold on a second. If that doesn't sound great, you clearly aren't a 9-year-old, nor have you taken care to think the possibilities through. Because Pujols could blow out candles, jet water, great distances, and even play wind instruments.
Good for him.
Fucking butthole in his flatulence. He was wildly popular in France, where he eventually started performing at the famous Moulin Rouge. Kichi, kichi, gaja, goja, milka chocolate, dash. Although we're all probably wondering how he could do this, Pujol's family denied a medical school request to examine his rectum after his death in 1945.
They had that one guy in the Jackass movie that could do that.
We would like to check out his butthole. We were very aware that he could play the clarinet with his butthole, and we would like to learn all about that.
We're about 10 minutes out from our interview, just to keep you posted.
Well, we got 2 more. We can knock these out real quick.
Okay. Two-headed folk. Is that right? That's all right? Yeah. Yep. If you think there's just one fake sideshow on the list, I have some magic beans to sell you. Sideshows have historically been rife with hoaxes, and in some way they're even more fun than the real acts. There's something of a relief in seeing the audience exploited as opposed to the performers. Pascual Pinion, also known as the two-headed Mexican Jesus, is a kind of in-between sideshow performer. Although, spoiler, he didn't really have 2 heads. He did have a medical condition that gave him his start. Pinion was actually a railroad worker in Texas with a large tumor growing from his head. A promoter saw him one day and was like any reasonable person thought,
I should absolutely pretend that's a second head and put him in a traveling show. They put a wax mask on the tumor so that it resembled a face. And basically had Pinion sit quietly as strangers gawked at him.
Hey, get your ass over here. We're going to put this thing on your fucking head. That's fucked up, dude.
Yeah, that's wild.
And last but not least, we got Elmer McCurdy. Before his death,
He makes good glue.
He does. It tastes wonderful. Elmer McCurdy was the stuff that spaghetti westerns are made of. After it, he became the kind of a character that Alfred Hitchcock or David Lynch might dream up.
Cool.
A small-time crook in the early 20th century, McCurdy was shot by authorities after a train robbery in 1911. The Oklahoma funeral home that ended up with the body had the bright idea of embalming him for display.
Okay.
They embalmed him with such gusto, however, that he became mummified.
Shit.
5 years later, a sideshow promoter saw McCurdy in the funeral home display. Goddamn, 5
They had him in
years.
display in a funeral home, too?
And pretending to be a relative, took the body for his own exhibition where McCurdy became the Oklahoma outlaw. For the next 60 years, McCurdy's body, 60 fucking years,
That's crazy.
was passed from show to show, which begs the questions, why was there such a strong man for lots of dead outlaw exhibitions? Eventually, he was sold to a wax museum as a mannequin, but when a clumsily broken arm on the mannequin revealed a bone,
Oh, my gosh.
police were called to investigate.
He said he was a mannequin. Put little funny outfits on him and
Go
shit.
put some torn up jeans on the new mannequin. A ticket from a crime museum, one of McCurdy's many post-mortem homes, was stuck in his mouth, and his identity was sussed out. McCurdy was finally buried in 1970.
Dang, that's crazy. Poor guy. Wow.
And that concludes Sideshows, which brings us to Lori Beth Denberg. I don't have any questions written down.
I think we can wing it. I got a couple things that I want to say. I have a couple questions I want to ask. I asked the Secret Super group some if they had any questions. I have a couple that they want to know, but
Okay, sweet.
a lot of the stuff I'm not going to ask because it's kind of inappropriate. But
No, that's fine. All right. Well, stick around for the interview with All That's. What other movies was she in?
she was in Dodgeball.
Dodgeball.
She was in Figure It Out on Nickelodeon.
She's awesome. She's incredible. We're super happy to have her. Lori Beth Denberg.
Tell me your names. I just am calling you the Brohios.
I am Nick.
I am Rob.
Nick and Rob,
Yes,
LB. Nice. Well, Lori Beth, nice to meet you.
Oh, we know.
You too.
We know who you are.
Your reputation precedes you.
Right?
We actually, it's funny because I didn't even think about it until afterwards. I have some buddies that actually did some work with you maybe just pre-COVID. I don't know where it was at. If it was somewhere near here, I think it was the band The Night Beast.
Oh, were they at the huge Christmas thing?
I think so. That sounds right.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've done in Columbus.
Okay, that's probably what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was a bunch of bands that played. It was a fundraiser for.
Yeah, I remember it was a fundraiser.
Homeless shelter.
Yeah. Yep, that was it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of
Tell
cool.
them I said,
Why do you hide these things from me? You could have told me about this. You're like, maybe there's a chance there's like some connected paths before we talked to her.
Well, I didn't think about it until earlier today.
I hope your co-host is better than this story, Beth.
maybe they should get the show together and we should start to hang out.
I don't know if you're ready for this jelly right here. I'm a lot to handle. So, okay, well, I'm just gonna go ahead. We're just gonna wing it, Lori Beth. There was nothing.
Okay.
There was nothing that we had planned here because when I reached out to you, when I sent you the email, you got back to me, and then I said, let's set it up for this. And then Lori Beth, I imagine you're probably bombarded with stuff all the time. And then the email slipped through, and I sent her another one. She said, "Oh my God, I was wondering why you fucking ghosted me." And I said,
I know. I felt like such a dick because can we swear on your
"Oh
podcast?
fuck yeah,
yeah.
send it, girl."
Good. I like to check before.
Send it.
You're like, this is going out to every kindergarten in the land.
No, not us.
I hadn't heard back, and I'm like, well, if those guys don't want to talk to me, that's fine. And then I see when you sent the email again, so thank you. I'm like, oh man, I'm such a dick. It was totally me.
No, and I didn't even give you an introduction. We're here with Lori Beth Denberg from 90s, all that Nickelodeon fame, and much more on the resume other than that. But the sweetest, softest spot in my heart for Lori Beth is all that and Figure It Out, which
And I'm going to we're going to completely butter your biscuit this entire interview.
Done. My biscuit is extraordinarily dry today. So.
We'll take care of that. No big deal. I do want to thank you, for all that you've done for us little, mid 30-year-old kids that were growing up watching you, and, just developing, our understanding of comedy, and it was just so cool. You were such a good and positive role model, and it's awesome to be able to share this time with you and talk to you. And
thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. That's really gratifying. I've been getting a lot of that lately. As the 90s kids come into their own, it's...
Yeah, we got fucking money to spend, and we want to fucking watch the shit. And
Exactly. I'm really interested in lining my pocket. Thank you.
Amen, girl.
Thank you for that enriching, heartfelt sentiment.
Hey.
And in short, you've made my life better. You may, and indirectly, but you've made my life better. And there's no need for me to... Well, I'm going to tell you one story of how this is... You're going to like this. I had an older brother, a few years older than me, and on Saturday nights, my mom and dad used to go out in the town, and they would leave my brother and my cousin home to take care of me and the other little cousins. And they would beat the shit out of me for 2 or 3 hours, just kick my ass, choke me, beat me over the head with shit. But they knew how much I love watching you on all that. And whenever Snick was on, whenever the Loud Librarian or Advice with Lori Beth Denberg, the Vital Information would come up, they would stop beating the shit out of me. And they would let me watch you. And I would be like, I'd watch and I'd laugh, and I'm laughing, I'm like 10 years old or something. And then they would, because they knew how much I like watching you. And then whenever you were done, then they would go back to beating the shit out of me.
Whenever Baggin' Saggin' Barry was on TV, it would be.
But then it was one episode. You were the Loud Librarian. You were fucking everybody up in the library. You were beating everybody up. And I was watching. I'm like, as soon as because you were getting me all amped up because you were messing everybody up. And I said, I'm going to fight back this time. And as soon as you were done, I open hand slapped the shit out of my older brother. And I kicked my cousin in the balls so hard that and he was coughing but they got me butt naked and they put me on the front porch of the house until my mom and dad got home. And my mom and dad they were so pissed off that I was naked on the front porch.
Well, that's the thing. They fucked up because you don't leave evidence.
Oh, they did.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you just have to say they did this to me, and then,
yes.
Fools.
But you had me all worked up. I said, I'm fighting back this time because she's got me all worked up.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm proud.
Oh, it is so awesome. And I know whenever I first reached out to you, you said, well, what are we talking about? And I said, well, we talk about ghosts and aliens and shit. And you said, I don't know if I can the one you want to talk to about that stuff. So,
well, no, what I said was, I'm very skeptical, so I might scully you in a loving way.
We're skeptical.
Yeah.
So okay.
We're not necessarily believers in that aspect. We want to believe, but it's more so like we go over cases that people claimed where they've seen things or where there's possible evidence of things, and we talk about that. But yeah, it's not like we don't live on that hill.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So before we kind of transition into our little interview here, have you ever had any type of paranormal run-ins or kind of any unexplained things that you've encountered in your life that maybe you haven't really talked about before because you've never really had the ghost paranormal platform before?
Yes, I was very scared when the librarian in Ghostbusters turned into a monster and screamed at the camera.
Still terrifying.
But in real life, no, I'd say. Sometimes it's inexplicable how stupid people are.
Sure.
But I can't really call that paranormal.
Yeah, I get it.
No, I am quite a skeptic and not a believer. I did a what was it? That's not a short film. What the heck? A digital series called The Tonopah 5. We went to Tonopah, Nevada, this little mining town that's like pretty defunct. kind of just like a strip of kind of closed shops. And but there was this casino hotel that we shot in. And they were like, it's haunted. And they were so excited to have us there because we were just doing a show. And they said, you're like the only ones that aren't doing some ghost show.
Yeah.
And it was like, don't go up to the 3rd floor or whatever. And the other people were like going up there and they're like, I really felt something. And then Danny was like, Danny Tamborelli was in it.
Yeah.
Tamborelli, my love. And he's like, yeah, my mom is like a medium or something, and so this ghost and then he goes to me, he goes like, did you feel anything? And I'm like, no, and I love your mom, but there's no such thing as ghosts. It's just like, but the hotel was really smart. They really played it up like with like old timey pictures and like old newspapers, hung on the walls and stuff like that. But no, there were no ghosts because such a thing does not exist.
I love it. Yeah, I wasn't, I'm a guarded skeptic, but we did like a ghost hunt, like my first paranormal ghost hunt. And in short, I was in the basement with the only people in this house and there was no one upstairs. And then right above my head, I heard like footsteps. I don't know if they were trying to fuck with me or what, but I was shitting my pants. It scared the shit out of me, Lori Beth. So that's my only experience with.
I'm sorry, I totally cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
I do it all the time.
Not that it's not scary.
Yeah.
Like a horror movie, or you just made me think of this haunted walking tour I went on in Savannah, Georgia. I was there for a Nickelodeon event. That's where I met Britney Spears. I got my picture taken with her.
Okay, yeah.
20 something years, like new Britney Spears.
Was that before or after Dad was running the show?
That was way before. Okay. I think she was like 17.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
she was like itty bitty Britney.
Yeah.
But I'm like a professional tourist because I got to travel so much for work that I'm all about like getting there early, getting on a double-decker bus, seeing the sights, and then doing the work I need to do. But so we had gone on this walking tour of Savannah that were all these ghosts, and that house has the little girl in the rocking chair, and and it's not that it's not, they're fun stories and scary stories, and it's not that if you told me I was in a haunted house and the lights went out and I started to hear things, I mean, I probably feel like I'm at the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland.
Yeah.
But it was still like my heart would pound. It's not like I'm completely dead inside.
Just numbed all of it.
To say I believe the ghost of X is here because she died choking on a turkey leg and she wants one good Thanksgiving before her soul can rest. I'm not quite there.
My thing with it is it's always convenient how it's always the ghosts from like the 1700s or like the 1800s.
Like, go home, asshole.
What are the people that died in like the 1980s doing? Like, where are they at? Do they just wait until 22, 33 before they pop up?
Or somebody's like, you never see a black ghost.
Right. That's true.
It's all Victorian. You never see a ghost in like Keds and jeans.
I want a Def Leppard ghost.
Jinko jean ghost.
That's awesome. I know you had some questions that
yeah, I did have a couple things that I wanted to kind of touch on. I know that I've been listening to your podcast.
Too.
Oh, you have?
Bad Advice with Lori Beth Denberg.
With Lori Beth Denberg. Yeah, I am enjoying it tremendously.
Wonderful.
And it is, it's a great show. When we were doing our main episode, we were talking to everybody, telling everybody about it, and making sure everybody listens. You talked about you used to be an addict. Is that okay if we talk about?
Oh, sure, babe.
Okay, awesome.
I was just enjoying your nugs, not drugs. Wondering what that meant.
I'll give you anything you want back there. So much you mean to me. I'll give you anything.
Oh, is that nugs? That's chicken nuggets. God, yeah. I read nugs like weed.
And
then I'm like, what is
spoken
that
like a true Californian.
That's no shit, right? Yeah, no. Everything's on the table. Let's
okay,
go.
Sweet, great. So as I think I've picked up pretty much what your crutch was. You care about talking about it a little bit?
No, babe. Go ahead.
All right, let's go. No, fire away. So when did you realize, like, when did you get to the part to where you were like, you're rock bottom? What got you to that point to where you realized that, obviously, because you've talked about before, to where you knew that you needed to do it for yourself to get sober?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing with, a lot of addicts, that they do it for the wrong reasons, which is why they can't really be clean, and why they always relapse. So what made you turn that corner to where you realized you needed help?
I had no other options. I knew about help that existed, about support groups and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I kept going with how I was going, just getting high, just trying to ignore reality and say, like, well, if I just keep getting high and isolating, something will happen to fix my life. Right. Surely someone will knock on my door and say, I have this $1 million for you. That's how it works. I understand. But, I had no other options. I was young. I was $60,000 in debt or more. I didn't have any real relationships. I was squatting in the what you want to call the bottom.
Yeah.
I was squatting in the apartment I'd lived in for years. And I had all my stuff in the garage ready to go somewhere. I had somewhere to take it, but I couldn't get together, like, renting a truck and getting it done. And so I'm squatting in the apartment, empty apartment. My friend had loaned me this really big double king size air mattress, but it had a hole in it, so it didn't inflate.
Oh, man.
So I'm laying on a rubber mat in an empty apartment, $60,000 in debt. And I had nothing else to blame at that point other than that I spent my days doing drugs.
Yeah.
Up till then, you want to go, oh, well, it's just bad luck. There's no work. That's why I don't have any money. And, people are just so, judgmental or whatever. That's why I don't want to be friends with them. I made every excuse there was to make about why my life was going down the shitter. And when you are laying alone on a rubber mat in an empty apartment and you go, okay, there's nothing else but these drugs and me. And if this is the problem, let me find out.
Yeah.
So that's when, I said, okay, let's see. Am I an addict? Let's go see the other addicts and see what they say. And then, I got to a meeting and it's like, yep, I relate to that. I relate to that. I relate to that. Wow. All the shit that you think is shameful and that I'm the only one that thinks this way or uses this way. And you have this whole room of people telling my story. And I go, okay, I think I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
And you take it from there.
Okay.
That's good. I know with kind of with the pandemic and everything going on, we've had a lot of people that have reached out to us and say, hey, I'm at the bottom and you guys are like the bright spot of my day.
Yeah.
And it's incredible to hear your story and to hear how you kind of just pick yourself up and said, I am the one that has to get me through this.
Yeah.
And I think that, you have an inspirational story. I know there's Lori Beth Denberg, the Nickelodeon star, but you have a beautiful story and a beautiful tale behind your name. And I'm glad that you have the platform to kind of tell your story.
Yeah, that's been really good. I always the thought always behind the podcast, Bad Advice with Lori Beth Denberg, which we give good advice. I just got stuck on the name. I thought it was funny.
I'm going to get there in a little bit.
I have a question as well about that. We'll get to it. I want to make sure we're not going to ask the same questions, which we may end up doing.
Okay.
So. Go ahead.
Okay, gotcha. So I knew that. Well, if you want to talk about the podcast later, we can talk about the podcast later.
Oh, I definitely want to, because there's a couple things you guys have talked about that I kind of want to get your advice on for us.
Done.
Because we'll get to the show in just a few minutes. But one of my questions, you have had so many different life experiences compared to just your everyday run of the mill Rob and Nick. So you've met so many different people in your life and gone so many different places. I have a really good sense of people when I first meet them. as I call it, a judge a character. My wife would be like, I really like that girl. I'm like, yeah, that girl's a fucking mess, and she has no problems. And I always tell my wife, I'm always right about these things. And I would like to know, how have you really developed a good sense of like judging people's character over the years? You've probably met a lot of grimy people, but you've probably met a lot of really good people as well. Have you developed a really good sense of judging, I guess, people's ulterior motives or how they're presenting themselves to you?
Yeah, I think I always say I'm really good at people.
Okay.
And part of that is that I'm able to communicate, and I'm able to invite people into conversations. And, I'm never, saying to my server at a restaurant, when we used to go to restaurants, like, excuse me, or this, I'm like, how are you doing today? I learned their name. It's just, people are people. And that's something that I learned from getting recognized when I first started acting, because it was like all of a sudden I had to interact with all these people, and I was like, okay. But the thing I'm good at people is I can, and maybe it's because I'm an actor, maybe it's just because I'm on alert for assholes. It's like I do pick up on body language, and I do pick up on expression, and I do really try to kind of conjure word for your podcast, to really find in my mind how the other person might be thinking or seeing something.
Okay.
So, if and a lot of times that avoids just like me going, you're such a fucking idiot, shut up, because if I can tell, like, okay, well, they have no reference for knowing that they shouldn't, whatever, put their gum under the table. That's a really stupid example.
No, it's fine.
It
happens a lot here in Ohio. Yeah. You'd be surprised.
But it's, I'm able, I think, to really tap into people's motivations and where they're coming from and how they're viewing a situation. So if I'm in that situation, I can kind of tailor the language or the point to say, like, oh, well, I can see they're not really understanding it. Let me use this analogy. I make a lot of awesome analogies, and I talk like I'm about 7 years old. Yeah. Now I'm being quite articulate, but in regular life, I substitute most nouns and verbs with the word smush and thingy. Yeah. And it's like, I'll smush this on my calendar, and then we'll do the thingy. And it's all the time that I make random noises like then she went ka-chunk, ka-chunk. And it's all stuff like that constantly. But I feel mostly, 95% understood.
Okay.
So. I totally get that. Yeah. Completely. No, I definitely get it.
With the analogies thing, I'm really big on, it's colder than a witch's tit, or my favorite that I made up myself is I'll say, if someone does something really stupid, I'll be like, he's dumber than a sack of rubber dicks. And people really like it when I say someone's dumber than a sack of rubber dicks. So.
Yes.
Yeah, there was something that one of my boys used to say that my wife now says, and I've gotten to the point to where I can kind of decipher what it means. So like if she wants something and she can't think of what it is, and I don't know, little kids are weird, so they say really weird things. But he used to say, "I want my thing of it, my thing of it," and so
that's juice. Yeah. I want my thing of it.
So my wife will be sitting there struggling, trying to think of something that she wants. She's like, "Can you get my thing of it?" And like, I'm like, okay, you want this specific medication. Okay, you want your glasses. You context clues.
It's all good.
It's like playing the pyramid.
It's just like that.
And you don't get the medication part, and just before the end, she just falls down.
Yeah.
Damn it! I should have said medication.
She'll sometimes I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? You know how many things there are in this house? Like, come on. But
I also add some charades in oftentimes.
Oh, yeah.
So that's pretty, like, I'm also pretty good at that, at like, if I'm chewing something, but I can really kind of act things out.
That's perfect.
So I'm pretty, just entertaining to the bitter end. Or obnoxious.
That's okay. One. You're perfect. It's wonderful. And you said conjuring, and it's really funny because you are, I'm calling you our first celebrity on our show, but we interviewed an actor from The Conjuring. It was our first He was our first interview. And this is right when we started doing our podcast. We're really fucking terrible at time and time zones. And he gave us his personal cell phone, which I don't think is a very smart move for someone like that. But he gave us his personal cell phone, and we called him a little bit late. And he answered, he's like, hello. And we're like, hey, it's Nick and Rob from the Bro. He's like, I'm cooking my fucking dinner. I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, I said, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. And he said, call me back in 20 minutes. And we called him back, and he answered, hi, thanks for having me on the show, gentlemen. After he just got that motherfucking, I'm making asparagus. But it was just fun because the Conjuring thing reminded me, and I did want to tell you that story.
It was a weird experience. That one was, yeah.
This is so much more perfect. I
would say that I had one piece of asparagus with my lunch, and so I'm now on a scientific thing to see if one piece of asparagus is enough to make your pee smell weird.
Oh man, I need to know how that turns out.
Asparagus fucks your piss up.
I have peed since I ate it to know fantabulous results.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, well, keep us posted on that for sure, because we are scientists.
I'll do that. Then I'll eat 2 tomorrow, and we'll get to the point, like the least amount of asparagus that can cause urinary awesomeness.
I like asparagus, but then when I pee, I'm like, what the fuck is that? Did I shit my pants? I start looking for poop in my underwear.
It's one of those things. There was this day, and I just shit, and it was blue.
Oh God!
I just
California
shit, and
poops.
it was blue, and I was like, "What?" And then I remembered I had been at my friend's kid's birthday party. Their mom had made this Cookie Monster cake. Bright blue frosting.
Fucked you up.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I can trace that back. Everything's fine.
I'd have called the doctor and be like, I got worms, doc. I got worms or something's wrong with me. But like we said, Bad Advice with Lori Beth Denberg is your podcast. And if everyone listening, go check out the podcast. Rob and I do not listen to podcasts. We listened to yours this week. I fell in love with it. So
thank you. I'm glad.
Yes, go check out Bad Advice with Lori Beth Denberg. Leave them a 5-star review. We want to pump those reviews up. We want to get that ball rolling, because you guys are still kind of in your infancy in your podcasting game. But I'm so happy that we have the opportunity to speak with you. And I know that Rob had a couple more questions.
Yeah. I had one in particular. It's kind of stupid, so don't judge me.
Too late.
Sweet. So kind of piggybacking off my first question that I had for you there. So obviously you had your fair share of party times.
Here we go.
Yeah.
But
you know what's funny? It's not as fun as you think.
Right.
It's not like I was out there, I was using to just not feel my life. It was that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm not one ever to have gone to the club.
Okay.
Nothing like that. So, but go ahead.
But
I hope I didn't invalidate your question.
No, that's fine. We're still asking it.
It's gonna be the response, the delivery here that's gonna make the question. So, in your time, a lot of people that I've talked to have been wondering, about. It's always like the people that you hung out with, the Nickelodeon crowd, pretty much the other actors, and everybody's wondering who did you enjoy hanging out with and partying with, and why was it Danny Tamborelli?
Oh well, no, this is very interesting. I never partied with anyone.
Okay.
I didn't start using until after I was done with Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry I don't have anything salacious.
No, that's and what made me think of that originally was because I think the first time that I listened to you on Danny and Mike's podcast, I think you were talking about a story.
Oh,
where I
did smoke with Mike. I forgot.
I smoked pot with Johnny Hopkins.
I'm only thinking about all that people. But no, yeah, I got blasted with Mike Morona plenty of times.
I love those guys. Their podcast is really well done. Good done.
It's good done. It's that blue ice cream coming out of your butt.
It's done really well also.
Yes.
And I remember when I was a kid, I would always write like, they'd be like, send this to Nickelodeon Studios, and I'd draw a fucking picture like, I need to come to that motherfucking place, and I'd stick it in the mailbox, and the mailman would take it every day. I wouldn't put stamps on it, but he would take it.
Aww.
And then one day he had like 50 of them, and he gave them back to my mom. He said, just keep these because he's going to grow up one day, and these are going to be funny. Was Nickelodeon Studios as much fun as they made it look on television, or was it kind of just like, eh?
It was, well, I was there. When we started the show, I was 18 when we started all that.
Really?
So, yeah, I was 18 and the youngest, Katrina, was 10.
Oh, wow.
So it was, though, to kids, because we called it the fishbowl. There's one wall or side of a wall or something in almost every room, not the dressing rooms and stuff, but that's made of glass because they take a tour through that. The theme park does tours through it. They did. It's gone now.
Yeah.
So I'd be sitting in hair and makeup on the last chair on the right, and this wall to my right is glass. And then, so you had to, I remember I was like, at one point, I was talking to somebody and then I made the jerk off motion and then I'm like, oh fuck, there's a twerk in there.
I'm 18, like, get the fuck out of here.
Like pretending my hand hurt or something. And then there was, the tour went over and above the downstage and by the, oh God, what's it called? I need a job so I can remember. By where the director, the booth.
Okay.
The booth, whatever. And those kids were always so excited. Like, it's so neat to them.
Yeah.
And the same way that because I've always loved performing and movies and TV. So growing up, and I don't like roller coasters. So growing up, Universal Studios, Hollywood was like my favorite place in the world.
Yeah.
Because it's the theme park and there's, King Kong, there's all these attractions, but I would always be on the big tram ride. You're going through the back lot and I'd always be looking like, oh, it looks like they're shooting something over there. You're in the back lot where they're making movies and where they've made all these movies. So that was really cool to me.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of love theme parks. So I would go out on my lunch break.
Except for the furries.
Yeah, that is very correct.
I just listened to that episode earlier.
Oh man, so panic attacky about the furries.
Yeah, if you want to listen to Lori Beth talk about her fear of furries, go ahead and listen to her podcast. I believe it's episode 3 of your guys' podcast. I think it is, but 2 or 3.
I'm glad that I've gotten better with that.
Yeah,
but you can listen on the podcast to the story of how I did that.
Yeah.
So I would go out from, work for lunchtime into Universal Studios and go on ET and go on Back to the Future. Like, that was really cool because that was always my favorite place. And then, weirdly enough, I got to do that at Universal Studios Hollywood as well because the Steve Harvey Show filmed there.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'm going on ET again, and I'm going through the back door so I don't have to wait in line. And, it was just
that's awesome.
Pretty cool that I got to just run riot over my favorite place for free.
Man, that would have been a blast.
I used to work at a baseball field, like a minor league team, and we got free nachos and hot dogs, and I'd destroy that shit. You always gotta go after the perks. They would, about the 7th inning, they'd be like, no more nachos for you. This is like your 5th trip up here.
Well, once I went to, this year I have not attended any sporting events, but usually once or twice a year I'll go to a Dodgers game from Los Angeles. And once a group of us went and we sat in some special part of the bleachers, which are kind of shitty seats. So they give you like all you can eat hot dogs, nachos. There's like 5 or 6 different things you can have all you want of. And we're like, oh my God. But then you realize like you really hit a wall past like one more than you would have naturally bought.
It's usually how it goes.
Yeah. Well, in regards to your show, Bad Advice with Lori Beth Denberg, give us a synopsis of what your show is about. I think that you give a lot of, it's called Bad Advice, but you give a lot of heartfelt, genuine, it's just a reflection of you as a person. You give a lot of beautiful, I guess, heartfelt, caring advice. And I was completely tuning in expecting you to be like, oh, just fuck them up, or fuck this, fuck. But you give really good, wholesome advice, and it's a really good show. So tell us about your show.
I really appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, I got stuck on calling it Bad Advice with Lori Beth Denberg, and part of that, the joke now is like, so if you want to sue me, try telling a judge you got bad advice from a show called Bad Advice.
Yeah.
But I just kind of thought it was catchy and better than like, let me tell you with Lori Beth Denberg, whatever. But the idea was always to have a real advice, show.
Yeah.
And it's like you said before, it's like, yes, I'm, Lori Beth from TV and all this kind of stuff, but I've had a lot of other experiences in my life, and I'm able to draw on that. And people have written in with called in with some really deep questions.
Yeah, because you give everyone the opportunity to reach out with questions, and they have you have your website and your social medias, and people can give you the questions, and you answer them on the show.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And, we'll go, Clark Crozer is my co-host, and he and I have known each other since first grade. So we have a lot of stories, and we'll veer off into tangents, and then it'll be like, what question were we doing?
We know all about that. look at all of our 1-star reviews.
Yes.
Everybody's like, their show is just one big inside joke.
Shut the fuck up and get back to the ghost.
Yeah.
So that brings a dynamic to it, but at the heart of it, it's really, heartfelt advice. That's why we also like to get goofy questions.
Oh yeah.
Like we just did a show where somebody was talking about, my best friend is an alcoholic and she had a seizure in front of me and her kids, and I had to call an ambulance, but she's not stopped drinking. What should I do? Or here's what I'm doing. Is this okay? So we get those kind of questions.
Heavy shit.
Yeah. And then we get, funny question. Like this girl was like, about she doesn't like to carry a wallet, but her money blows out of her coat. Like there are funny, goofy ones that we mix in. On the last episode, somebody wrote in and said, how many Hallmark movies is too many? I, watch this, whatever. So it's like, we do like a mix.
Mm-hmm.
But generally what we'll do is try to get a pretty good mix in the first segment of questions on the show, which is the beginning part of the show. And then we'll do, get off the advice and do a segment about, there's like different segments we do every week, different like gags and bits and lists and whatever. Perfect. And then we go to a final question. The final question is usually something fairly weighty.
Okay.
So that's always been the idea behind it, was that I think I have something to offer. I mean, because people just said, you give good advice. People in my life,
right?
Like I've been pegged as understanding and compassionate, and unfortunately, it seems like some of the shit and terrible things I've had to go through can come out the other side to help someone else. So that's kind of the whole thing. And then obviously to try to be funny and weird and talk about whatever.
Exactly.
I like the idea that where you guys just kind of have like the goodie bag of questions, that you had the reoccurring segments, and one week you were talking about you're answering questions about dogs, which I know you love dogs, which this is kind of going to transition into where I'm going to go next with is you talk about dogs like you're a huge dog person. I got a question that I want you to answer for Nick.
Okay.
That I'm going to ask, but it's going to go into Nick telling the story because he tells the stories the best. He has the best stories, and it's that's what he does. So tell her your problem you have with your dog late at night.
Jesus Christ.
I hope it's not romantic.
It's very romantic. I'm about to romance the shit out of you, Lori Beth. I have 2 border collies, which are
smart,
highly intelligent dogs. Well, one is champion bloodline. He's a fucking rock. I mean, he's so smart. But the other one was like a clearance. How do you find a dog on fucking clearance? I was at the animal store, and they're like, clearance. I'm like, clearance? What are you going to do with him if you don't sell him? Like, this is a pet store. What are you going to do with him? So I got him, and his whole life, he's just been, he's can learn any command and do anything, but when it comes to like relatable life skills, he has nothing. He's just like he's the weirdest dog in the entire world. But
he has no street smarts.
Yeah, fucking dog.
He's a potato.
But
you're the wallet inspector.
Exactly. But in the middle of the night, there was like a few nights where I would just hear like. It was like licking. I'm like, God damn it. My wife cannot stand the sounds of this stuff. So she's like, go see what he is doing. And I go, I'm just like, oh my God. And I go down to the kitchen and, he's laying in his bed and I turn the light on and I'm staring at it. His name's Bruce. I like to give my dogs human names. So his name's Bruce. And Bruce is he's licking his wiener. Like he's fully exposed and he's just going at it. And I'm like,
gotcha.
You are fucking gross. But he doesn't stop. He doesn't stop licking it. And I'm like, stop, man. I'm yelling. I'm tired. My eyes are barely open. I'm like, fucking stop. And he just keeps on licking it. And then he looks up at me. He makes eye contact. and I'm like, will you stop? And then when I said that, he starts having his orgasm. He's fucking taking care of himself.
Okay.
And it was
and you witnessed him complete?
Oh, yes, I did.
His dog kept eye contact with him.
It was the ultimate power move that I ever. It was nothing that. So now every time I'm around him, I'm just like, "Hey, how are you doing, man?" It's like things are always really awkward. Ever since that night that he was like, doing his rocking out with his, whatever, and it was a really unfortunate experience, and I'm really sad that I had to go through that alone.
Wow.
I'm not asking for sympathy, but that's
the advice he wants to know is how does he make things normal between him and his dog again?
Well, I mean, it sounds as though you could use some counseling.
The doctor.
You could do individual counseling and then counseling for you and your dog. Is your dog fixed? The answer's no.
No, that's a no.
No, he's not. One is not.
Okay, and the one that is doesn't lick his giant boner and come while you're making eye contact.
He's a very good dog.
But the one that isn't does that.
The clearance
but
dog.
They're almost 15 now. So like the fixed train
okay.
That ship has sailed.
Okay, and is this a new behavior?
It's only happened a couple times.
Okay.
But it's really a violent orgasm when it happens.
I think you should let him know that your guys' relationship is strictly platonic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to throw this out because whatever, it is a thing that a dog can get like a full-on boner and it gets stuck out.
It happened.
It's happened.
It happened to my wife. She called me work. She says he's falling in. His insides are falling out. And I'm like, what the fuck? And she sent me a picture. His wiener was stuck. But yeah, you're right. That happens.
Yeah. So I was wondering if that was part of the issue. So he might just have something going on. But yes, I did spend a lovely couple hours with latex gloves on, trying to massage my friend's old boxer named Bud, trying to massage his erect dog pee-pee back into its sheath.
Oh.
Like, because it gets stuck and it's painful. And so if something weird happens, please take your dog to the vet. Just kick him in the face and say, my wife's trying to sleep, you piece of shit.
Yeah, you're right. I'll remember that for the next time.
That just made me snort laughing.
See, we told you guys. She gives really good advice. I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to spoon with Bruce as soon as I'm done. I'm sorry about that night, buddy. I'm so sorry.
I think I maybe just have one more question for you, and it's something,
sure.
Another thing that you guys share in common. You are ordained as well, right?
I am.
Yes. Wow. So is Nick, and I just want to know because he's told a story before. He already knows where I'm going with this, where he's gotten some really wild requests for weddings, and I'm wondering if you can recall any crazy or out of the ordinary requests that you've gotten while officiating.
Gosh, nothing. I mean, I think I got ordained to marry, actually, Clark, my co-host.
Yeah.
I got ordained to marry Clark to his now wife, Karen. Mm-hmm. And I love them more than a million times.
Yeah.
And people really liked my ceremony and they said, you should do this. So I put it out there. I've probably done between 25 and 30 weddings.
Okay, perfect.
I cannot think of anything crazy. I mean, my ceremony, like if you want like a Catholic solemn ceremony. You're not calling me in the first
right.
Yeah. So it's pretty wacky and kind of funny, but also like, reverent of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're getting married.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think I've had any crazy requests. Like no one said, you're going to come in on a helicopter and drop down under the...
Yeah. That would be dope, though.
Flowers. That would be dope as ass, man.
So
what did you get?
You know where I'm going with this.
It was... So we live in Ohio. You're from Louisiana. Were you born in Louisiana or California?
I'm from Los Angeles.
Well, I thought you said you were from... You said in the email you were from
LA.
I thought,
not the abbreviation for Louisiana.
Why did I read it as Louisiana? I'm a fucking idiot. I'm sorry.
It's that Ohio education.
I was like,
I worked really hard to get rid of my Creole accent.
Yeah, I was kind of never mind. I'm going to cut that part out. Yes. Ohio, it's kind of a different. It's a different kind of. It's different out here. And the couple that, and much like you, I had a friend that reached out that wanted me to marry them. And I was like, I would be honored to do it. And then people just word of mouth, oh, hey, you're funny. Do mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I've probably done, 100 weddings. I don't know what it is. But
wow.
I meet with the couple beforehand. And I met with this couple, and he's got like a big old dip in his mouth. And she's fucking...
They're country folk.
They're all about it. And we go through it. I'm like, you guys want to do religion? Like, do a short prayer. What do you want to do? And at the end, he's like, well, I got one thing I want to ask you real quick. If I don't know if you want to try this or not. And I'm like, okay, shoot. Because I'm a free spirit. I'm like you, Lord.
Right?
I'm DTF. I'm down to fuck. I'm down for fun. You know what I mean? And he's like, we're like real big hunters. Like, we like to go hunt deer together. And she's like, She's like fucking next to him, cheering him on. He's like, and like, for my wedding, I'm going to be wearing a camouflage tuxedo. And she's already got like a camouflage wedding dress picked out. And I'm thinking to myself, these motherfuckers are going to be like carry a gun up there. I don't know what they're...
I'm not even going to be able to see them.
We're doing this in a tree stand. And he said, we're real big deer hunters. I said, all right, that's cool. And he's like, we're wondering if we rent you a deer costume.
Oh, Jesus.
If you wear a deer like a deer costume. And then I didn't know if they were... See, I thought about it for half a second, and I said, these motherfuckers are serious right now. And I said, like a Rudolph costume? And she said, that would probably work.
Oh, my God, to satisfy our bloodlust.
Right.
And I said, I'm going to have to politely decline. And he's like, he looks at his wife. He's like, babe, I told you he wouldn't do it. That's all right. We'll pass. We catch up with you some other time. I'm like, peace the fuck out.
How does that lead anywhere other than them shooting you?
Right. That's what I was wondering.
Oh, it's going to be in a movie.
Did they say we need a deer costume with a big red like target on it?
Yeah. And I said, peace the fuck out. Lo and behold, a week later, I get a call from him, and they say, we was thinking we would like you to do the wedding. You ain't got to dress up like a deer. I said, well, fucking good, because I wasn't dressing up like a goddamn
right?
deer.
It's good you got back in, or you would have missed the possum at the reception.
Yeah, it was delicious, too. And when I went there, and this is the best part of the whole story. I DJ weddings too. I used to. I don't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go to the guy I DJ'd for and get one of his this van he fucking gave me. It was the biggest piece of shit. And I get there and I lock the goddamn keys in the van and I have all the audio equipment in there. And I said, I'm fucked. I'm dead in the water. And I told the groom, like, listen, I locked my keys in the van. I'm fucked. He's like, oh, we'll take care of it for you, bud. I got my toolbox on my truck. And I'm like, oh, great. And they're moving around the van, and I hear like, I'm like, fuck. And I go around this, and they broke the side window out. And they're trying to, but it was a wonderful evening. Like you said, the possum was delicious. I'll eat cat shit as long as there's A1 steak sauce on it. I am a big fan of A1 steak sauce.
Possum and moonshine. That's all we need to celebrate our love and a consummation in front of everybody.
I just couldn't imagine, like, just the fact of somebody asking somebody else that is great. It's so funny.
Yeah. Well, bad advice with Lori Beth Denberg. Lori Beth, I don't know if you have any more questions, but
I'm okay.
I think you are a beautiful person and a beautiful soul, and we are so thankful you came on the show
Thank you for reaching out to me.
Yeah, you mean so much to both of us. You may not, and like I said, indirectly, but you mean so much to both of us, and we're honored that you came on the show.
Well, thank you.
If someone would like to find you, what outlets can they go to send you questions for Bad Advice with Lori Beth Denberg? And
that is a very good question. People can write into us through the website, which is askloribeth.com. And we are on the socials at Ask Lori Beth on Twitter and Instagram. My personal Instagram is LB Denberg, or at LB Denberg.
Okay.
And you can call in to leave a voicemail question at 1-800-DENBERG, 1-800-DENBERG.
God, that probably,
look at that. That's
a fucking $10 million for that phone number right there. Huh?
Right? Our producer, Jeremy Balin, he also produces Danny and Mike.
Okay.
And
Nice.
He's just great. I was really lucky to get to meet him pre-COVID when I did some stuff with he and Danny. And so yeah, he just went out and he's like, I got Ask Lori Beth. I'd got, like the number. It was just like, wow.
That's awesome.
I guess this is all I needed to get a podcast started, with somebody else doing all of the work.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
We always say it on the show, but my cat's shit box is like 5 feet away from the table right here. So you're 10 steps ahead of the game if you have a producer.
Yeah, we have a nice romantic setup here. It really sets the ambiance for our episodes.
Lovely.
Sometimes,
you have the sound dampening wall hangings.
Yeah, well,
that's kind of what we need.
That's from Harbor Freight. They're moving blankets. They're about $30, but they do the job perfectly.
That is something I will take under advisement, because we are in Clark's office.
Yeah.
Which the only sound dampening things are pop toys lining the walls.
Yeah, we got some of those over there.
Mystery Science Theater 3000
That's
figures
awesome.
and all kinds of our nerd shit that we love.
Yeah. Real quick, did you guys go to school together, or how did that relationship come to be?
In elementary school, we were in the same class. You know how sometimes there'll be like a first and second grade class.
Yeah.
So I was in second grade and he was in first grade. We were in the same class. We went to the same school for elementary school. We went to the same school for junior high, and weren't that friendly. And then we went to the same high school and became really friendly there. So it's just kind of been, he's always been around, and his parents are great, and that kind of stuff. So
he has a beautiful voice for radio as well. He has a very
he's very booming.
He has a very booming voice. Yes, that's for sure. Well, again, it's Bad Advice with Lori Beth Denberg. Thank you so much for the honor. This is probably ahead of the birth of my children.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I'm not only have I been anticipating this all week, but my wife, who has never listened to one of our episodes in 5 years, so this is going to be the first one she listens to. So thank you.
She's gonna make him dress up like a deer afterwards and eat a bunch of blue fucking cake.
And then your dog's gonna point his boner at him and
relieve himself.
Away.
You know too much about us for only spending 45 minutes with us.
I really, really appreciate you reaching out to me, and this has been just super fun to talk to you guys. I'll come back and talk about a ghost someday.
If anytime we are we're wide open for you.
It's our honor.
Yes. So anytime you want to come back, we'll be ready. And I might have some questions for Bad Advice with Lori Beth Denberg, because
please send them in.
That's the other thing. Yeah.
Tell everyone listening to this podcast, if you can hear my voice, send in your questions, goofy, serious, whatever. It makes my day to get them, and then it double makes my day if we feel like we were actually able to help someone.
That's perfect. I have a lot of weird bathroom encounters that I would like to
bring it. The first question we ever answered on the show was about somebody who couldn't shit in public.
I thrive under that pressure.
Well, what I like to do is I like to have one piece of asparagus, and then from there. All right, Lori.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Yep. See ya. That was Lori Beth Denberg.
Lori Beth Denberg.
God, she is
what a peach.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah, I adore her.
She is so much better than I could have ever imagined. Not that I thought that she was going to be bad.
No, I definitely didn't think that at all. It's just crazy, man. I mean, like we grew up in what I would call the heyday of Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
and maybe it's just because it's the nostalgia, but I definitely think that we hit the mark for the best shows of that era.
Yeah,
and you can't beat all that and figure it out for that time.
I think she was probably happy to not get the fucking run of the mill questions she normally gets.
Yeah, right. And I mean, I'm sure she's answered all those like 100,000 times too. So that's that.
I told her 15 minutes and she gave us an hour. So she's the best. She's the best. I will forever be in debt to her.
We do need to let her know. Shoot her over the email that when the episode's going to be out, just in case she wants to know.
Okay. Yeah.
We always forget to tell people that.
Yeah. How soon's it coming out? 10 minutes.
It's already out.
Fucking 5 minutes. 10 minutes.
Well, Lori Beth, if you're listening to this, once again, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you and to rack your brain a little bit. And I hope we do it again.
Oh, I'm going to do it again. All right. I can't wait to talk to her again.
Oh, I thought you were talking about with Bruce.
She was all about talking about my dog's wiener. She knew exactly. She's like, I had to massage one back into the sheath. What the fuck? She's been there and done that.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying.
The book. So
that's the type of good advice you can get.
God, she's so cool. Well, we are the bros. We're on cloud 9, so we'll come down and talk to you guys when we decide to come down.
Yeah, eventually.
Tell them the good news.
Love you guys.